So it is 6 p.m. and we will call this council meeting on Monday, November the 10th to order. Please rise for the playing of the national anthem. We begin with our land acknowledgement. With gratitude, the Township of Leeds and the Thousand Islands acknowledges these lands and waters are the traditional territory of the Algonquin, Mississaugas, Mohawk, and Huron-Wendat. To recognize the role the township must play in truth and reconciliation, we also acknowledge the displacement of these peoples. Additionally, the township would like to respectfully acknowledge the First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people who also call this place home. We make this land acknowledgement to honor the Indigenous ancestors who have stewarded these lands and waters since time immemorial. Moving along with our agenda, moved by Councillor Antoine Hartley, seconded by Councillor Maybe, that the agenda be adopted as circulated and that the procedural bylaw be waived for this meeting to change item 9 on the agenda from briefings to Ward 3 council vacancy interviews. Discussion on the motion? I have no hands up, so I will call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. Next item is declaration of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof. Does anybody have an interest to declare? I have no hands up. There is no closed session this evening and therefore no reporting out from closed. So we will move on to the public meeting. And the motion is that, coming from Deputy Mayor Fody, seconded by Councillor Antoine Hartley, that the public meeting be called to order. All those in favor? All those opposed? It's carried. So I will read the public meeting introduction. Personal information collected at this public hearing is collected under the authority of the Planning Act and will be used to assist in making a decision on this matter. All names, addresses, opinions, and comments are collected and form part of the minutes which are available to the public. Questions regarding this collection should be forwarded to the Director of Planning. The purpose of public meetings is to present applications in a public forum. Following presentations by the applicant or staff, council members will be afforded an opportunity to ask questions for clarification or further information. The meeting will then be open to the public for comments and questions. When you speak, please provide your name and address for the recording in the minutes. All comments should be directed to myself, the chair of the meeting. The applicant will be provided the opportunity to address public questions once all members of the public have made their submissions. Following council's decision, notice will be circulated in accordance with the Planning Act. If a specified person or public body would otherwise have an ability to appeal the decision of the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Leeds and the Thousand Islands to the Ontario Land Tribunal, but the specified person or public body does not make oral submissions at the public meeting or make written submissions to the township before the bylaw is passed, the specified person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision. So we'll go forward with 8.1, applications for official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment, file number D09 2025-002 and D14 2025-011. Madam Planner?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. The subject of this public meeting this evening is applications for official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment for the property municipally known as 7 Clark Drive. The subject property is located southwest of the intersection of County Road 2 and Clark Drive. The applications are being proposed to facilitate a future consent application to sever approximately 3,134 square meters of land to be added to the abutting property that is currently operated as a marina, municipally known as 11 to 35 Clark Drive. The retained parcel is proposed to be 4,143 square meters and contains an existing dwelling, septic system, well, and residential driveway. For the proposed official plan amendment, it seeks to amend the tourist commercial designation and rural land use designation of the subject property on Schedule A1 of the Township Official Plan so that the proposed severed parcel is entirely designated tourist commercial and the retained parcel is entirely designated rural. The zoning bylaw amendment application is proposing to change the existing tourist commercial CT zone of the proposed retained parcel to a rural residential special exception zone to correspond with the existing residential use of the property. A special exception zone is being proposed to incorporate zoning relief from the minimum 6,000 square meter lot area and minimum 45 meter lot frontage requirements of the RR zone for a non-waterfront lot. Just scroll to the proposed severance concept plan. So this is the retained parcel with the existing dwelling, and then this is the severed parcel that's proposed to be severed and added to the marina property located to the south. With respect to notice has been provided for these applications for this meeting this evening in accordance with the Planning Act, and that included a notice being mailed to all owners of property within 120 meters of the subject property and signage being posted on both road frontages of the property. To date, staff have not received any correspondence with respect to the application. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Planner. Any questions from council members? I have Deputy Mayor Fody and Councillor Maybe. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship. Excuse me. And through you to our senior planner. Was there any negative feedback from any neighbors in the area?
Through you, Madam Mayor, to date, staff have not received any correspondence with respect to the applications.
Okay. Thank you.
Go ahead, Councillor Maybe.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. So the reason for this is to actually give the north channel of the bay, which the Clark Marina is on, access in the future, I take it, because it does move that property line to the north side of the actual roadway that is presently there. Is that correct?
Through you, Madam Mayor, the existing property has a marina use on it in terms of parking for the abutting docks to the south, as well as the residential use. And so the purpose of the application is to amend the land use designations and zoning to facilitate that future consent to separate the residential use from the marina use of the property.
Excellent. Thank you.
Further questions from council? I have no hands up. Are there any members of the public who would like to ask a question in regards to this application? And I have no hands up. So we will move on to 8.2, which is communication tower. Oh, I apologize. Is there anyone online that would like to speak? If so, please use raise your hand function so that we can recognize you and turn your microphone on. No hands have gone up. So my apologies. So we'll move forward with 8.2, and there's a second public meeting introduction. So in regards to the communication tower applications, this public meeting is being held in accordance with the township's telecommunication tower protocol. Personal information collected at this public meeting is collected under the authority of the Municipal Act. All names, addresses, opinions, and comments are collected and form part of the minutes, which are available to the public. The recording of the meeting will be posted on YouTube and will also be made available to the public. Following the presentation by staff, the meeting will be open to public for comments and questions. When you speak, please provide your name, address for the recording in the minutes. All comments should be directed to myself. The report being presented to council is being brought forward to allow for public input. A resolution will come forward for each application later in the meeting. Okay, so we have a member of Kingston Online Services. Oh, sorry, my apologies. That is here this evening. And if you'd like to come forward and present.
Am I able to use a USB stick? Oh, perfect. Thank you. Yes, yeah, absolutely. Perfect. Okay.
So the planner will go through your presentation and you can begin whenever you so wish.
Perfect. Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you everyone for your time and consideration tonight. I'll just wait till the first slide pops up here. My name is Rob Pritchard. I'm the General Manager at Kingston Online Services. For those of you who aren't familiar with Kingston Online Services, we've been around for 30 years. We're independently owned and operated. We currently have a wired and wireless network between Gananoque and Trenton, down through the islands, through Prince Edward County, as well just north of the 401 corridor.
There
And
we
his
go.
next slide. So what KOS is proposing right now is to bring high-speed, reliable wireless internet with speeds up to 250 megabits per second download using next-generation fixed wireless equipment to Leeds and the Thousand Islands. This project would be able to bring high-speed connectivity to about 3,000 homes. The proposed sites that we're looking at right now, though, are really to fill gaps where residents today have limited options. By filling these gaps, we're bringing consistent modern internet to underserved households that existing networks have missed. So what we're really targeting with this is our underserved homes. We're not looking for the areas where, you know, there may be existing services, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes here. So what we would need to do in order to accomplish this is to build a number of small, low impact, self-supporting towers in the township of Leeds and the Thousand Islands. Next slide, please. So I mentioned the next generation fixed wireless connectivity. It's just a little point I do want to make here. This is something we're able to deploy very quickly. We're able to bring fast, reliable connectivity to rural roads, communities, islands through very rapid deployments. We can bring that in, we can have this set up, and we can be broadcasting in very short order. As I mentioned, we're going to be bringing minimum 250 meg speed packages to residents here with low latency. What helps if you've got a busy home, multiple people in that house, working from home, anything like that, this is a solution for that. So it delivers urban grade performance while preserving the rural way of life. So reaching the last mile, this is really important. This technology allows us to reach places that traditional wireline services aren't able to connect: rural roads, challenging terrain, and islands. And that's really the focus of the plan and what we're bringing forward here today. That's what we're looking at. So this allows more homes and businesses to have access to modern broadband. And our services do meet and exceed the CRT's 5010 objective. And as I mentioned, we're offering up to 250 meg packages for residents. The environmentally responsible deployment. The proposed tower locations have been chosen by identifying locations of existing clearings and site access to minimize vegetation clearing. We propose self-supporting towers, so no guy wires, nothing we have to clear out further to reduce the overall footprint. We have consulted with the Catacar Region Conservation Authority, which has confirmed that the proposed sites are outside provincially significant wetlands, woodlands, and areas of natural and scientific interest lands. So high-speed interest with fair pricing. I bring this up because it's part of the feedback we've had. We've been speaking quite a bit with residents. And one thing that's really important is that we're bringing in fair-priced, reliable, high-speed internet. And that was a question. Someone said, if you bring that down to that end of that road where we don't really have service right now, are you going to do your prices accordingly? And the answer to that is no. We have no hidden fees. We have transparent pricing, and we have locals who will help support any questions, any needs that anyone has. Next slide, please. So the service gap identification. So what we looked at here, a number of things. A lot of this was driven initially by where we operate our network. As I said, we come right up to Gananoque Way. We have a lot of feedback, a lot of communications, a lot of people contacting us and asking about services in the area here. And that sort of started things for us. We also consulted the National Broadband Map from ISED, Innovation, Science and Economic Development, to identify potential service gaps. And the right here it highlights locations where we've identified existing service gaps. And this is what we're really primarily focused on. So we initially evaluated the wireless and wireline existing service offerings in those regions and identified areas where the service was just not sufficient. We completed extensive research on the market and underserved homes and engaged quite a bit with local residents as we were doing this. Next slide, please. So a few things in this planning I just want to mention. I will try to be concise, but it's a lot of important information and a lot of things I do want to touch on and cover to make sure it is understood. So we used advanced radar modeling and high-resolution LiDAR data to strategically guide our tower placement. These weren't just random where we're putting them. They're all very specific for why we're selecting these locations. This allows us to select tower sites that maximize coverage, reduce service gaps, avoid unnecessary structures, and ensure reliable connectivity to more homes and businesses. And the last point is here, we're bringing the speed and reliability of the urban networks to rural communities. The technology that we're using is something we've deployed on our network for the last couple of years with great success. We've had 20 plus other internet service providers come to our network to have a look at this to see how it's working, and have followed suit and are deploying the same technology now. So bringing this to these rural areas, it is a very reliable, high-speed service, and we can say that very confident we do have that experience. Next slide, please. Structural safety with the towers. Again, this is questions that have come up about this. So all our towers are designed and reviewed by licensed professional engineers in accordance with CSA S37. We look at the wind load, ice load conditions, everything about that to make sure that these are safe towers. And we can maintain that structural integrity and safety over the life of the installation. Construction of towers is carried out by licensed engineers. We do everything by the book. And a really important note on this too, it is something that has come up as well, is if we were to decommission a tower, if a tower were to be no longer operational, we have an obligation with the landowner, and as well, we wouldn't leave a tower just that's not being maintained. That tower would be removed by KOS, so that structure was no longer there. Climb prevention was another thing that has come up. All of these towers that we're proposing are equipped with fixed anti-climb panels to prevent any unauthorized access. So the only access would be to KOS staff. You couldn't have someone wander onto the property and just climb a tower and run into any issues. They all have the anti-climb measures on every single one of these towers. Next slide, please. I'm just going to touch on this very briefly. Health Canada Safety Code 6. Again, this is something that has come up. And it's really the Safety Code 6 is looking at power density limits for towers like this and for the output. What we're proposing here are very low output towers. And we attest that the antenna system to be installed will comply at all times with Health Canada Safety Code 6. RF exposure in all publicly accessible areas, considering the combined emissions of all equipment on the tower, will remain vastly below the general public limits. We just have a slight, on the right here, you can just see if that limit being 100% at the top, you can see where we are. We fall in about the 5.5 to 6% of those emissions. And as you move away from the tower, that continues to decline. These are very low emission towers. These aren't cellular towers. These aren't 5G towers. Next slide, please. So what we're going to look at now, I'm just going to walk through the towers and just talk to each one quickly. There are 6. I will try to be concise and work through them, but I know it's very important that we have a look at all of these and considerations that were made. So this Charleston Lake South Tower at 2902 Outlet Road. So tower specifics for this, it's a 76-meter tower. It's an all-weld self-support. Again, no guy wires. NAV Canada has not yet confirmed whether this tower requires a beacon light or not. It's not typically required for a tower under 90 meters, but that is up to NAV Canada to make that decision. The location rationale is it was existing unused field where we're looking. This would service the Charleston Lake South Lake area while providing crucial backhaul connectivity to downstream towers. And this is a really important part too. So the location of these towers, as I said before, they're very strategic on where we're putting them to service these underserved homes. These are multi-directional towers. So you might see a tower somewhere and you might look at it and say, well, hey, there's a fiber line here, there's something else there. But we're looking beyond that. We're looking at these other areas, and when we're looking multi-directional, we have to put that in a central area where we can connect to all of those underserved homes when we're trying to do that. We did assess a nearby tower, and it was deemed not to be viable due to reduced coverage to the underserviced homes. Again, these are the homes that we're targeting, the ones that don't have that access. The environmental impact, it's existing open land with access that minimizes construction or any removal of vegetation. It avoids provincially significant wetlands, woodlands, and ANSI lands, and the CRCA has confirmed that no permit is required for building at this location. For public input, KOS didn't receive any formal feedback during the public consultation period. However, we did receive feedback outside the public consultation period from a resident that is opposing the tower and does not want it constructed there. Next slide, please. So this tower is at, so this is looking at this here. So again, this is the 2902 Outlet Road. On the left, you can see the location of that tower on the property. We have put this in with everything we sent to the township, all the records we've sent out as well. And on the right, you can see just a 3D rendered drawing of what the tower would look like in that space. Next slide, please. This is just a view, vantage point you can see on the right. If you were further down Outlet Road, we show where the viewpoint is, and you can see what the tower would look like down towards the end of that road. Next slide, please. So this is the Gananoque Lake Tower that we're proposing. It's at 465 Gananoque Lake Road. It's a 46-meter tower. It's an all-weld self-support tower again with no guy wires, and NAV Canada has confirmed that no lighting is required. Location rationale, it's an existing commercial location. It services the Gananoque Lake area while providing crucial backhaul connectivity to downstream towers. No other nearby viable co-location options for us, and it's very difficult to see from most viewpoints where we have this located. The environmental impact, it's existing open land with access that minimizes construction, again, removal of any vegetation. It avoids provincially significant wetlands, woodlands, and ANSI lands, and the CRCA has confirmed that no permits required. The tower type is chosen for its really small footprint. It's a 2.1 meter by 2.1 meter base, and that's all we require at the base of the tower when we're building. So very little disruption to the land. We've received no formal feedback during the public consultation period for this location. Next slide, please. Again, this just shows where the tower will be located on the property, and on the right is just a rendered drawing of what the tower would look like. Next slide, please. And from a distance, again, where this tower is located, this is what it would look like. You can see the vantage point we've used on the right. That is a rendered model on the left that we've used, just poking up above the trees there. But that is what the tower would look like from that vantage point. Next slide, please. So Gananoque River Tower, this is located at 384 Marble Rock Road. It's a 46-meter tower again. It's an all-weld self-support, no guy wires again, and NAV Canada has confirmed that no lighting is required. It's got an existing business there. This tower would service the Gananoque River area. We're providing, again, crucial backhaul connectivity to downstream towers. I know all that sounds similar, but it's very important where these towers are located to each other so that we can continue to get to these areas where we have these underserved homes. We can't just take a tower and move it a couple of kilometers this way, it makes a big difference with the land, the topography, the foliage. There are a lot of things that will impact that and our ability to continue that loop and to continue feeding these towers. There's no other nearby viable co-location options. The next closest tower does not provide coverage requirements to reach the modeled underserved homes that we're looking at. Environmental impact, again, it's existing open land with access that minimizes construction and removal of any vegetation or much vegetation. Avoids the provincially significant wetlands, woodlands, and ANSI lands, and CRC has said there is no permit required. Same type of base, which is just a 2.1 meter by 2.1 meter base. And for this tower, from the public input and the consultation process, we didn't receive any formal feedback during that consultation period. Next slide, please. Next tower is 384. Still looking at this here, you can see where the tower will be located on the property. Again, on the right, it's just a 3D rendered model. And all of this information is available, we've made available. Next slide, please. Again, from vantage point further down Marble Rock Road, you can see the tower up there in the distance, and you can see where we took that viewpoint from. Next slide, please. So the Lyndhurst Tower, this tower is we're proposing is at 183 Briar Hill Road. Again, it's a 46-meter tower. We've selected these towers very intentionally. We don't need the guy wires for as minimal impact as we can have. It's an all-weld self-support with no guy wires, and NAV Canada has confirmed that no lighting is required on this tower. This tower would be located around the edge of some existing farmland. It would service the Lyndhurst area, and again, it provides that critical backhaul connectivity to downstream towers and upstream towers. No other nearby viable co-location options. We look at that in every case. The tower that's approximately 2 kilometers away provided reduced coverage for Lyndhurst and Lyndhurst Lake and does not meet the backhaul connectivity requirements that we have. Environmental impact, again, it's open land with access that minimizes construction, avoids provincially significant wetlands, woodlands, ANSI lands. CRCA said no permits required. And the tower type, same thing. It's got the small 2.1 meter by 2.1 meter base. For the public input during the public consultation process, and people were contacted, we were advertised this, it was put up on the website here. We didn't receive any formal feedback during the public consultation period. So this tower, you can see where it's located to Old Briar Hill Road. It's back in a field there, back behind a lower cover of trees at the base. On the right, you can see the rendered model of what that would look like. Next slide. And from a distance, this is what this look like from a vantage point down the road. You would see the tower, the top of the tower there. Next slide, please. The Quabbin Tower that we were proposing, it's located at 130 Quabbin Road. It's another 46-meter tower, all weld, self-support, no guy wires. NAV Canada has not yet confirmed whether this tower requires a beacon light or not. It's not typically required for a tower under 90 meters, but that is not our decision. That's a decision that NAV Canada makes. It's on the edge of existing farmland. It will service the Quabbin area. Again, it provides that critical backhaul between the towers. And we did look for other nearby viable co-location options, and they were not available to us to meet these requirements. This is what we were trying to service here. From an environmental impact, it's open land, minimizes construction, it avoids the significant wetlands, woodlands, and ANSI lands. CRCA said no permits required. Same 2.1 meter by 2.1 meter base. During the public consultation process, KOS didn't receive any formal feedback. Next slide, please. So for the Quabbin Tower, you can see where the tower is located here up at the back of the field on the left-hand diagram. On the right, you can see what that rendered model would look like up close. Next slide, please. Again, from a distance, it's up on Quabbin Hill, up on the hill there. You can see the top of the tower there, and you can see the viewpoint that we used to render that image. Next slide, please. So the Thousand Islands Tower at 87 Fitzsimmons Road. So this is a 55-meter tower. It's an all-weld, self-support, no guy wire tower. NAV Canada has confirmed that no lighting is required at this location. So the location rationale for this, it's a small, unused open area with trees that really screen the front. I'll talk a little bit more about that. It services 1,000 islands while providing crucial backhaul connectivity to downstream towers. It also provides a critical and redundant link back to KOS. There's no other nearby viable co-location options. The existing tower, approximately 2 kilometers north, failed to meet the backhaul requirements for downstream KOS towers. There was a question about this because I know there is fiber run in that area and the need for this here. And again, what I really need to stress is when we looked at this tower and the building of this tower, those weren't the households that we're looking at or deeming to be underserved. We're looking beyond that. We're looking to the islands. And because it's multi-directional, we have to look multiple ways when we're actually trying to position that tower. The environmental impact, it's open land with access. It minimizes construction. Again, avoids provincially significant wetlands, woodlands, and ANSI lands. CRCA has confirmed that no permits required. And again, it's got the 2.1 meter by 2.1 meter base. Public input, we have received objections. We received objections from one person citing safety code 6 and environmental impact and some other concerns. And we did receive 2 objections concerning the building of a tower on this road. Next slide, please. So on this tower, you can see on the left-hand diagram where the tower would be located. Sorry, the left-hand image. On the right-hand, you can see the tower. Now that image, and again, that's a render drawing that we've put in there. That's not the view from the road. The view from the road is actually through a fairly thick row of trees there. So it's tucked back into a pocket with very high trees around it. So it's not something that would be readily apparent on the road if you were driving down. You sort of would have to look for it to see this tower at this location. Next slide, please. Again, looking at it from a distance, this is a rendered drawing. You can see on the left what it would look like from further down the road here. And that just shows you on the right where the viewpoint was for this particular image. Next slide, please. So a couple of things just to sort of close on here. I want to bring forward the information about the towers and where we are with them. Again, I know a lot of this information has been shared, but during the consultation, some questions are directly within the scope of the public process defined by ISED in their document CPC-2-0-03, while others fall under federal jurisdiction or outside what can be decided locally. The following examples from that same CPC-2-0-03 outline what we can address as part of this review and which topics we cannot address. As I said, identifies these topics as beyond this process. So the examples of questions that we can't answer on the left are, why we're using this? Why is an alternate site not possible? Questions like that, KOS is able to answer absolutely. The example of the questions that we cannot answer, though, are dispute with members of the public relating to our services, but unrelated to the antenna installations. Potential effects that a proposed antenna system will have on property values or municipal taxes. KOS cannot speak to that. And questions on whether the Radio Communications Act, Safety Code 6, locally established bylaws, or other legislation, procedures, or processes are valid or should be reformed in some manner. KOS cannot speak to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So I will recognize Kyle, our junior planner.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you. It is noted that notice of these 6 applications was provided in accordance with the township's communications tower protocol, and staff received feedback on 2 of the sites, those being these sites located at 2902 Outlet Road and 87 Fitzsimmons Road. Copies of the comments submitted by members of the public have been provided to council at their seats. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I will open it up for members of council to have questions. I have Councillor Lackey and then Deputy Mayor Foti.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you to probably the CAO, acting CAO. I just want for clarification what our responsibilities, what are the responsibilities of the township, and versus what legislation is out there that we have to deal with. Our role in this whole process.
Go ahead.
Thank you, through you. So the telecommunications tower protocol for the township indicates that council needs to pass a resolution concurring or not concurring if the applicant has met the requirements of the telecommunications protocol, which is essentially providing the notification and having the opportunity to receive public input. Ultimately, the approval for the towers rests with ISED and not with council. So it's whether or not the communication protocol has been complied with and they've met the requirements of that.
Deputy Mayor Foti.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Your Worship, and through you. One of your earlier slides showed your distance of reach. Is that a preferred distance or is that a maximum? Showed 180 meters roughly.
So distance of reach from the tower to where we can connect a customer, or I'm not clear, sorry.
Sorry?
Distance where we could connect a customer to that tower, how far we can broadcast. So we'd be looking at about a 10-kilometer range from the tower that can be connected. So we're looking at, about 5 to 10 kilometer range is optimal for a tower like this. So everything inside of that. So when we're looking at these towers in these locations, what we're mapping and what we're planning on, our distances are far beyond sometimes what's immediately seen in the neighborhood. And that's, I use the example, it was an example that was brought up and it was a good example of the fiber line that went. We're actually looking past that. We're actually looking to islands. So about a 10-kilometer range.
Okay. Thank you.
Go ahead, Councillor Maybe.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. I have a few questions here. So the height we kind of got 76 to 55 and a 46, but you're saying that none of them need lights at this point or beacons, at least a couple of them. Some are still out there to find out clarity on that.
Correct.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. My apologies.
Don't go ahead.
4 of them, we've already been told don't require. 2 of them, we haven't got an answer on yet.
Okay, excellent. And Councillor Foti asked the distance question, which was the 10K, which was my question because of the islands, and you're saying that you're going to cover a good deal of them in the Ivy Lee area and the Hill Island. There's quite a few locations there. The one thing with that, the top of the tower, it's a directional sort of beacon that you're getting signals from. And on the water, you talked about it being more spherical, possibly to get many in a cone shape. So is that true that some are just one direction, or is all of them multi-direction?
So each tower, I mean, it's different based on where the population bases are that we're looking at, and the underserved areas that we're looking at. But each panel that we put up will cover about 120-degree section. So if we know that the population is here and here, we have 2 panels on a tower. If we know we have to cover completely around the tower, we have the 3 panels on the tower to capture in each direction. So it completely is based on what where those underserved homes are and what's needed.
And as a backup to that particular question, how many services can come into the receiver at once? Like, is there a maximum number that the tower will actually hold?
So this tower, if it's okay, I'm just going to look over here at one of my wireless managers here. Is it okay if
Yeah,
I have
please do.
Perfect.
Yep.
So Dom is our wireless services manager, and he works very specifically with this, and we'll be able to give you a very specific answer.
Absolutely. So each panel can handle up to 200 connections, but if we get to that point, and honestly, much below that, what happens is we would add another power panel to the tower. So each tower potentially services right now 600 homes, but if we approach the point of getting close, we add capacity. And honestly, once you get to 1,200 homes, we don't have a single rural tower that has that kind of capacity, but it is possible.
Okay, sounds good. So after you receive the signal, how's it getting back out to your location to service it?
So well done.
Okay.
The technical guy can answer
So,
that.
sorry, I'm the technical guy. So the towers all connect to each other using high bandwidth backhauls that interconnect. So that's the reason for why the distancing is so important here, is because if you get too far on the distance, we have to use much lower bandwidth backhauls. But with the way we've laid it out, we'll have like 10 gigabit plus capacity, which is, to people who aren't tech people, it doesn't mean anything, but it means a lot, quite a bit for the number of homes we're looking to service. And again, if we were to hit near capacity, the fact that we're this close means we can use this specific technology, which has lots of available channels, which means that we could duplicate, and then we don't run into kind of past problems where, a tower is great for the first 50 people that come on.
Yeah.
And then, you get 51 and suddenly everyone is having trouble watching hockey at night. This is purposely designed so that we don't run into these kind of problems.
So it is all wireless then, tower to tower to tower to tower to Kingston, wherever the major main service is.
It does go to a fiber at the end of the chain, but
And then on the other side of that, if the power goes out, does a battery or generator backup on each tower?
We do. So with that tower, to answer that question very directly, yes, we do. We have about an 8 to 10 hour runtime on a battery backup. So if the power locally were to be lost, but you still have people in that area I've talked about, and they still have power, we can still provide them with service. That 8 to 10 hours, most of the time, the issue will be resolved in that time. So the tower will come back up, power will be restored. If not, it does give our team time to be on site. In today's day and age, people rely on internet. You have to be reliable. You can't have outages all the time. You can't be going down. To your question before, if you can't watch the hockey game on Friday, or you can't have the kids watching something and someone working over here and a Zoom call going on, it won't work. And we wouldn't even be approaching an expansion like this or looking at investment like this in the company if that weren't the case. So we do have battery backups on them on every single tower. Power goes out locally, something happens, we can still service the surrounding areas.
So you actually bring up another one that I do have written down here, is the type of service that you're actually providing. Is it just internet service, a streaming service, any phone? And you mentioned TV, but that's a streaming service you're recommending.
So what we're doing is we're really bringing the wireless internet in. We do have VoIP services for individuals who would like to have that. We have that. We comply with all the E911, all rules, regulations there. That is something I know some people have expressed interest if they don't have cell service or anything else.
Right.
But again, that comes back to then the reliability reliability of that internet service. We're not offering TV services in this case. It's something we've looked at, but nowadays there's so many subscription services and everything out there. And it's kind of prohibitive or not worth us doing that at this point when someone can go out and have Netflix, Amazon, get their sports and
Yeah.
everything else like that.
Yeah.
So what we're bringing is that wireless internet, that high speed, reliable wireless internet.
So my last question was dollars as in the packages. And you talked about economically, it's comparative to other services provided in the area.
Yep. So we look at that as part of our pricing strategy with everything we do. If we're able to come this way, if things go forward, that pricing would be made available on our website. So there are a lot of considerations we look at. There are obviously costs and whatnot for us, but we look at what's happening in the market too. And we are not the most expensive provider. Typically, it does cost to bring some of these higher end services or these upper level services. But we look to be very competitive with the market. We look to be very fair in the market with costs of everything and everything going on right now. To be very transparent, what we look at from our strategy right now is to bring in an excellent service. So we bring a customer on board and they stay with us for years. And in which case you can kind of spread out, what that revenue is you have to see coming back in. So pricing would all be disclosed. It would all be on the website. You can see our existing pricing right now, kos.net. You can see that for the rest of our network. And we would be consistent with everything here. We are not looking to raise any of those prices. We won't be raising any of those prices from what we're already offering in Prince Edward County or any other locations. We'll be consistent with that.
And just as a last question, will you be offering any other services off your towers for other providers?
Co-location is always something that is encouraged amongst all of us. So if someone were to come to KOS and ask about co-location, it would be something that we would look at with them. But as of right now, there are no plans for any other services to be offered on these towers.
Thank you. And just as a note for me, I know I've talked about tower services or towers in our community and how many there are. And that to me has always been my largest question is how many more do we have and how many more do we need? So thank you.
Further questions from council? Okay. Any questions in regards to the applications put forth for the towers from the public? If so, you can please come to the podium, please. So we'll take all the questions from the public and then we'll ask the presenter to come forward. No, you come ahead and ask your questions.
I don't actually have questions. I'm just sort of talking. I have talking points that
So you're
go
making
towards
comments.
what KOS is. Yeah. Do you want me
Okay.
to wait or?
Nope, please,
Okay.
can you please state your name and your address?
Yes, it's Shelley Hipwell and I live at 27 Fitzsimmons Road. So I understand KOS wants to provide a service and we were back and forth because I've sent information initially to council and planning regarding what my concerns are. I understand that, they feel the service is necessary. I do not, but again, not techie. But what I want to address really is regarding proposed communications towers, we get assurances that towers are safe by telecommunications companies, saying it'll comply with Safety Code 6. Safety Code 6 is the national benchmark used by Health Canada to regulate and approve RF radiation emissions. So it's the benchmark for Health Canada and all these telecom companies to come and tell you, don't worry, it's safe, it's fine. Well, the last major review of Safety Code 6 was in 2015 with only minor administrative updates and despite rapid expansion of 4G, 5G, and other RF technologies. It is old information based on what we're being exposed to now. So it's based primarily on short-term thermal or heating effects, not long-term or low-level non-thermobiological effects. It fails to integrate modern bioeffects research from peer-reviewed studies published after 2015. There's limited epidemiological data used, focused on older human occupational studies with small samples. It relies heavily on industry-funded or government-affiliated research, which raises conflict of interest, in my opinion. The human health limitations of Safety Code 6. There's no consideration of chronic exposure from 24-hour proximity to towers, Wi-Fi, or mobile devices. Does not evaluate synergistic or cumulative effects like multiple frequencies or multiple carriers on a tower. It ignores non-thermal biological changes reported in independent studies, so DNA damage, oxidative stress, sleep and hormonal disruption. It assumes uniform tissue absorption, not accounting for children's smaller size, thinner skulls, or different connectivity. It does not assess vulnerable populations, pregnant women, the elderly, or immunocompromised. There are no requirements for real-world measurement or post-installation monitoring of RF exposure. So where a tower goes up, we already heard CRA says no permit, no permit. So there's no pre-exam of anything. They're telling me that, you know, there's no side yard offsets, there's nothing. And then they can add more and more carriers with more and more tech that's coming online faster than we can buy a new cell phone. And then I'm 150 feet from this proposed tower. I don't feel safe there. And I can't believe that it would even be proposed. But anyways, so wildlife and insect gaps with Safety Code 6. Safety Code 6 is not designed for ecological protection. The code explicitly applies to only human exposure. There is no limits or testing on wildlife exposure, though numerous studies show birds, bees, bats, and insects experience navigation and reproduction disruptions. Magnetoreception interference, the disruption of species that rely on Earth's magnetic field, is unaddressed. Thermal-only model ignores non-thermal effects documented in animal studies. There's no field data requirements for habitats near communication towers or high RF zones. That's why they get a pass. It's like, oh, we're not near this, we're not near that, and it doesn't matter because, you know, CA says it's okay, but that's the situation here is, anyways. Plant and ecosystem effects regarding Safety Code 6. Plants are not included in safety calculations. There's no evaluation of cumulative environmental load where multiple towers overlap in natural areas. It fails to address the indirect impacts such as pollinator decline or soil microbe disruption that affect plant health. So the international comparison of Safety Code 6 exposure allowances. Canada's RF radiation limits are the most permissive in the world, 10 to 100 times higher than any European or precautionary models. European and bioinitiative guidelines include non-thermal and long-term exposure factors, along with the thermal, which is the only thing Safety Code 6 looks at. Safety Code 6 does not look at any of that other stuff. It's that old. Keep in mind the government through the years has also allowed CFCs, lead-based paint, asbestos, thalidomide, and other toxins to be widely used until they are proven to be detrimental to the health of humans and the environment. I don't want to find out. So, human health implications of living within 150 meters of a communications tower. My home is 150 meters from the proposed tower site, and my property line is much, much closer. Regarding proximity and exposure intensity, residents within 150 meters are in a higher RF exposure zone, near field or lower far field. Power intensity can range from 0.1 to 0.6 watts per meter squared, depending on carriers and antenna direction. Exposures within Canadian thermal limits, Safety Code 6, but above precautionary limits used in many European countries. RF exposure increases with additional carriers or 5G panels that are probably going to be added later. Kingston Online Services is planning on adding more carriers, which will increase the RF exposure. The potential non-thermal biological effects: sleep disruption from melatonin suppression, circadian rhythm interference, headaches, fatigue, cognitive decline, elevated oxidative stress in cells linked to DNA and immune system changes, vulnerability in children and elderly, chronic and cumulative exposure. Continuous 24/7 exposure leads to bioaccumulation of stress responses, possible endocrine disruption, both thyroid and adrenal, no nighttime recovery period due to constant emissions. It's not like when you use your phone and put it away. It's just always there within 150 feet of my house and the other neighbors as well. I mean, we've got probably 8 or 10 properties that are going to be within the 500-meter range. Studies show elevated sleep and cognitive symptoms at 200 meters, evidence of higher cancer incidence at 300 meters. World Health Organization and the IARC classifies RF radiation as possibly carcinogenic to humans, Group 2B. BioInitiative 2020 proposed an upgrade to that, probable carcinogen, Group 2A. Quality of life and socioeconomic environmental effects. Property value reduction of 10 to 20% within 150 to 300 meters. Visual presence and awareness of the tower linked to stress and anxiety. Possible interference with home electronics and medical devices. Reported sleep and mental health effects occur even among unaware residents.
Can I ask how much more you have? I just want to make sure that we can get through the other members of the public as well. I'm not sure how much longer you have to read there.
Well, I don't have to say anymore. I can just leave you with the information. I want everybody to know that as we're like 10 to 100 times higher in our allowance of radio frequency radiation to our population in Canada than Europe. And there's precautionary zones that should be considered, you know, with 300 to 500 meters between an actual house where people live and a tower. You know,
So is there a link to the data that you're sharing here this evening?
I can give you the references for all of this stuff.
Okay,
I
so
don't
we
have
did
it.
receive the correspondence that you sent in earlier.
Right. This is the point form of all the other stuff I've already sent you.
Okay.
So I just want to make one more point then before I go. Our proximity to the national park and to the Frontenac Arch Biosphere, and the fact that the township's official plan states very clearly that land south of the 401 is special designation, specifically considering that the national park and the Frontenac Arch Biosphere are in this area. It's supposed to be protected. You have a mandate to follow the official plan. So, official plan. We're looking at the plan's vision balances development with natural heritage conservation. New tower south of the 401 would conflict with that. Sections 2.10 natural heritage, 2.11 scenic resources, and 4.16 telecommunications. I didn't hear anybody talk about that tonight when KOS was given their sales pitch. I'm concerned, and not just for this tower, but for everybody that lives near towers. And I understand it's federal, and I know that ISCD has final say, but the council and the people have a lot of power to say no, thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. Other members of the public? Other members of the public who would like to speak, if you'd like to come to the podium, please. Okay, while he's coming, please come ahead. Go ahead.
I had a question just for clarification. During your presentation, you made reference to 150 feet and also 150 meters. It's meters? Thank you.
Okay.
So thank you, Madam Mayor, for allowing me to speak. I'm Dan Horton. I'm at 2899 Outlet Road, which is about 350 meters from the proposed tower location. So in, I believe, 2023, there was a cell tower erected in the outlet. I believe it's the Rogers Tower, which is right basically beside the channel, outlet channel. And at that time, I'm not aware that there was any proposal to make this a multi-customer tower or not. So I thank you also to the general manager for addressing the technical issues around this, but I still have a question of why that particular tower, which is probably less than a kilometer away, could also be used for KOS. I believe that tower is at least 78 meters tall, which would be the equivalent of the tower that's being proposed in the outlet today. So in the actual application, the proposal states that the proposed installation provides an opportunity to accommodate co-location with other licensed carriers thus limiting the number of new tower structures required in the area. It will assist in minimizing tower proliferation in the area. So if this application is approved for this particular location, the outlet will have 2 towers within a 1 kilometer radius, which in my opinion is proliferation in our area. And we're in a very small hamlet. If there's 50 people on the outlet, that would be on a good day. So if this tower is supporting multiple service providers, then why can't the current tower that's in the outlet be used? Also, the proposed tower that's being, or proposed location at 2902 is basically on prime residential property or potential residential property, which has waterfront access to Wilsey Creek to the north. And it's directly in the middle of the outlet, which is, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful lakes in Ontario. From a revenue perspective and aesthetics, I would think it would make better business sense to zone this piece of property residential and put a house there rather than putting a commercial tower smack dab in the middle of it and basically committing it to a commercial property for the rest of its useful life. Now, not to, not in my backyard type of deal. If this tower is required, because technically the current tower can't be used, there's 2 other locations which are nearby, which I would like to see proposed or looked at. One location is actually on the current owner's property that's already given permission to KOS to erect the existing tower. And it would actually be on the south end of their property. It would be on a higher elevation. It also would still have road access. As far as clearing of vegetation and that, I think it would be minimal. So it is an alternative place, and whether they still need a 76 meter tower, I don't know. Another location, which I assume is already commercial property, is the township garage, which is right on County Road 3. There's probably plenty of space to erect a tower that doesn't need guy wires. So those are the 2 alternate locations that I would like to see investigated before a tower is erected right in the middle of the outlet. Also, as far as services for people in the area, and I think the general manager of KOS was suggesting that the underserved might be beyond our actual outlet properties. But currently, the Rogers cell service in our area is quite adequate. I'm a Rogers user, and I've had no issues with cell service since the Rogers tower has been put in. And secondly, as far as internet services, Lansdowne Telephone or Nexicom has just recently installed fiber right up to our house for internet services. So as far as not being underserved, once we get fiber to our houses, we'll have 250 megabit plus service available to us. Cost-wise, I'm not sure whether Nexicom and KOS will have prices that are competitive, but certainly the outlet itself won't be underserved. So based on what we're seeing in the proposed, I do have a reluctance for the tower to be erected in its current location and would like to see the other locations investigated before it's approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So other members that would like to speak to the applications, if you'd like to come forward.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. And through you, Madam Mayor, thank you for the presentation. While I was watching, there were several occasions where it mentioned that there was no feedback received from the public. So I was just hoping that the delegation could maybe dive into that a little bit more and maybe explain the process. That just strikes me as odd. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments or questions for the presenter before they come back to the podium? Anyone online before I go back to the presenter? There's no hands up online, so if you could come back to the podium and answer questions, that would be great.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I apologize. I've lost my voice here a little bit. It's just run through my house, so if I have to step away from the microphone, I do apologize. You can blame my kids. So a couple of points. Of course, as part of this process, we really appreciate everyone's feedback. As I said before, we follow every step very closely. One thing we work very hard as KOS to do is to partner closely with the communities that we work in. Be it hiring people, if I need someone to do some work for us, whatever else it is, we take pride in that. We have a very large network, and we work very hard to be excellent partners, excellent members of the community. With regards to Safety Code 6, as I mentioned before, it's not something that I can comment on, or there's not much more I can say about it than I've already said. It's a very low output tower that we're looking at right now. But again, it's under the guise of Safety Code 6, and that's not for me, unfortunately, to comment on or to have any other information or make any judgment about. Mr. Horton, thank you very much for your comments here. So we did look at, there are a couple of reasons we looked at other locations in that area as well. This tower in particular is very central to this network that we're building, and it actually communicates with a number of different towers. So we looked at the Rogers Tower, and it actually doesn't help us get to some of the, and again, the big key here is the underserved homes we're looking at. And when we're looking at the lakes, we're looking at the islands, when we're looking at different parts of the topology here, it's very undulating. They've got a lot of foliage and things like that. But a movement of a tower, a kilometer, 2 kilometers, you can lose a ridge, you can lose a pocket of people. In this case here, it doesn't serve the underserved homes that again we're targeting. We're not targeting right now. We do follow what the other the telcos are doing, what the other internet service providers are doing, and we're looking at not just where they stand right now, but also where they're building. And that's just a business model from KOS's perspective. Do we want to build right into competition, or do we really want to go after these underserved homes where there's that really high need? So a lot of considerations were made, a lot of different locations were looked at there as well. But the tower, it just doesn't provide the coverage to all those underserved homes that we're really targeting in this instance. As I mentioned, this is a real centerpiece for this network. So from the backhauls, from the subscribers, from those places we're trying to hit, the movement of it makes it difficult. And I very much understand the question. And when we're modeling and mapping these things, we're doing it very, very specifically with a lot of these considerations too when we're driving around and looking at it. And this location here that we have selected, it is the best location for being such a central hub communication piece for the other towers, but also being able to bring in these services to these underserved homes. I'm just looking at comments here to make sure I'm covering things. And again, we are aware of the fiber that's coming to those houses there. And as I mentioned before, that's where we look at the ranges beyond. But that location is important for the tower that's over here, as well as the population that we're trying to service from that existing tower there. Yeah. So other considerations were made at that location, and that was the best location we had.
So the last question from the last member of the public was in regards to no other concerns from other members and everybody who is in the area. Madam Planner, you said that so many folks in a certain radius received notification of this, or no? That was the previous one. Go ahead.
Thank you, through you.
You're-
Sorry, thought it was on. If you could clarify what your circulation radius is and what the requirements are for notification for when you indicated that there was no public comment received. What are your obligations with respect to notice to the public for a consultation?
Sure. And I may call Dom up here just to join me as well. So I'm being very specific with this. We were required to deliver letters to homes, and Dom will talk a little bit about what that criteria is. We also we had to advertise this in the local paper as well. We had this posted on your website. And with all of those, we put signs on the yards as well. So anyone walking past would see that sign. Again, Don will talk a little bit more about it. Those letters were all handed out and very clearly, essentially the information that I was sharing here. And it showed, what the tower was, where the tower was going to be located, the height of the tower, all of those details. And then also we very clearly put our contact information in there. And we made mention that it was a public consultation set at that time, or no? Yeah, it was. So public consultation as well. So So we did not receive by phone or by email, and we really try to have things in writing as much as possible. So everything is recorded, and everything that we had, we shared with planners here, and vice versa, to make sure that everything was on public record. We actually have that obligation to hear and to ISET as well. This all has to be part of the public record. So there's nothing that we can be holding back. Phone calls. I notified my entire staff from top to bottom that if anyone called in saying, "Hey, I received a letter," or "I saw this online," or "I saw this and I need to talk about this tower," every single person, from the technicians in the field to the owners to everyone else, was notified that that needed to come to me. Records of that needed to be made, and records of those needed to be shared with the planners here.
Okay. So other than the folks that have spoken here this evening and the correspondence that we've received prior to the meeting, you haven't received any other calls?
We haven't received any other, and the one that fell outside of the actual consultation period, that's been, well, actually, that came to you. That's been discussed as well, and I brought that up as well tonight, but nothing else.
Any other questions from council members or the public online? Sorry, you have your hand up again? I need you to come to the podium, because no one online can hear you unless you're at the microphone.
He's on Ivy Road. We never received a letter. And I put a package together when I first walked by the little 8.5 by 11 pink sign on the road, and went up close thinking they were building a barn or something. And it was a telecommunications tower. Nobody on our road received a letter. I just want that to be on record.
Okay. Please go ahead.
So Dom can speak specifically to, Dom can talk a little bit about specifically who we have to give the letters to. But with the Canada Post strike on, we actually spoke with the planning team. And what we actually did was we went house to house, and letters were hand delivered. And the agreement was made that these letters could all be hand delivered to every location. We took pictures of letters in mailboxes or being delivered to those locations, and all of the ones that were on the list. Some of the property owners are outside of the immediate area. They have a property here, but the actual office we needed to contact was Toronto. We were able to use UPS Courier for those, and then we have tracking records for all of those as well. So I don't have the list of addresses in front of me that we were required to contact, and we did work from a list that was provided by the team here. But I can assure you, we dropped off a letter to every one of the homes that were on those lists, and it was obviously a very integral, important part of this process, and was not skipped over. I was handing out letters myself and knocking on doors and speaking with people for the 6 towers. But if I spoke with someone, I made sure they had a copy of the letter, and the letter goes through the details that I've talked about, including all how to contact us. That's a public consultation. Those were delivered. It was a Friday we were doing them, because there's a very specific period of time the letters have to be delivered to allow for the consultation period to happen. Actually, a few of us that are here, we had met and we had all these. I put them together myself. I have pictures of each letter. They were all delivered to the ones that we needed to deliver to. Sorry.
Okay, I'll go to the planner.
Thank you. Through you, just to clarify, our protocol requires that notification be sent to property owners within 3 times the height of the tower or 250 meters from the tower. Our planning technician did work with Kingston Online Services in terms of verifying the names of the owners, and because of the postal strike, as indicated, they were hand delivered. There was also notification published in the local newspapers. It was put on the township's website, as well as advertising in the office.
Okay. Further comments or questions from anybody in the room? Please come forward.
My name is Richard Winnell. I live on Ivy Drive, which is in the close proximity of this site. Despite the gentleman's description of everything that they had taken into step to inform everybody, I never received any of that documentation. I didn't receive a letter delivered by hand. I found out about it by what was posted on the roadside. I was not communicated with directly to inform me as to what the proposal was going to be. Furthermore, anybody anybody living within 150 meters of a tower is going to be exposed to high levels of radiation. Radiation is acknowledged in lab rats. Lab rats get cancer from elevated levels of radiation. I already have cancer. I live within a 500-meter range of that site. I'm immuno-stressed. I don't really want to wonder if my next bout of cancer is going to be caused from the radio tower just around the corner. That's all I've got to say. Thank you.
Any other members of the public who would like to make comments? Okay, I have none at this point. So the next item, so the next motion is moved by Councillor Maybe, seconded by Deputy Mayor Fody, that the public meeting be closed. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. So, okay, we're just going to rearrange the setup for the next item on the agenda, which is 13, where we have no staff reports this evening. Or sorry, I got ahead of myself. I had flipped the page. My apologies. So it's Ward 3 council vacancy interviews. So 9.1. Okay. So this evening, we have 4 candidates that have put their names forward for Ward 3 interviews. We have them in alphabetical order. So number 1 is Thomas Hopkins. Number 2 is John Paul Jackson. Number 3 is Krista Leclerc. Number 4 is Jason Page. So each one of the applicants will be coming forward to give a presentation. They have the questions in advance. So okay, I'll let the clerk go at this point.
Thank you. The 3 questions are, number 1, what prompted you to apply to serve on council? Number 2, what experiences from your personal or professional life do you see as strengths in shaping how you would approach serving on council? And number 3, what are the most important issues that the Township of Leeds and Thousand Islands is currently facing?
Okay, so with that, we will call our first candidate, Thomas Hopkins, up to give his presentation. Welcome.
Expecting it to stand, not sit again.
That's okay. Is the microphone on by any chance? Just have to touch the button at the.
It is?
It's on? Okay.
All right.
Just wanted to
Okay.
make sure that
Okay.
everybody can hear you online.
Okay. When do you want me to start or?
Yeah,
I know there's a time limit on this, so.
We'll just close the door in case anybody's having conversations outside.
Okay.
There we go.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and councilors. My name is Thomas Hopkins. I'm at 81 Over Road. I'm in the Ward 3. I am trying to get onto Ward 3 councilor. So number 1, what prompted you to apply to serve on council? I'm prompted to duty to serve the community, and it came suddenly with the vacancy of Ward 3. I think I can address the needs of my ward, as well as the greater TLTI community at large by voicing their concerns. I think I've got a great background in running committees, chairing committees, and serving other executive boards within the community, too many to mention. I also serve on committees within OSSTF, that's the teachers union, by the way, I'm a teacher, and serve currently as the provincial human rights officer in Toronto. As I continue to help the community, I think I can help be an asset to the town council in decision-making through all my roles as a secondary teacher and helping the residents who are hardworking people and need their voices heard at a municipal level. Also, communication would be a top priority for me, especially in Ward 3. I think the council needs different voices, like how the mayor opened the land acknowledgement. So too do the voices of the LGBT community within needing their voices heard, along with voices of women and other minorities within the greater TLTI area. So question number 2, what experiences from my personal and professional life do you see a strength in shaping how you approach the council? I've been a community leader through the schools that I've served, whether it be in the greater Toronto area, which I was, and now serving here in the TLTI area. There are too many councils, parental involvement, helping the school and initiatives like the food drives or working with leadership roles in getting students onto their careers, especially in the trades, which makes up a large part of the TLTI community. And I think you all would agree with that statement. I've worked with students to get them jobs at local businesses, and I can see their growth as they graduate and how they become better working and living in the area after they've graduated high school. By the way, I also taught civics, so yeah, that's a bonus. I've been the vice president of my local district 26 OSSTF union for the past 5 years. I've chaired meetings, local meetings, and I've been a supporter of local initiatives that schools, unions, and communities have put together, like helping food banks. I'm president, the chair of the Provincial Human Rights Committee with OSSTF in Toronto for a couple of years now, and I've served to the local executives of OSSTF. And through their work, I've been dealing with equity issues, human rights issues, and the status of women issues. I come from a political science background, so that's ultimately a good plus for you as an asset for this council. I know different systems of federal, provincial, and municipal, and I have a great deal through my university work since I've done my bachelor's in political science and English, double majors at Memorial University, and I continued to further my educational career through the University of Toronto, doing further courses in the fields of guidance and special education. I come with a humanistic point of view in trying to navigate the different issues that each community members have within the township and approach them with a different edge versus people who might be accountants or business people. Because even though I can sit down with people and have connections with them, I also deal with them on a more humanistic way in how to deal with staffing, community, and addressing needs and how they can help progress their business within a TLTI. Question number 3, which is the longer one here. What are the most important issues that the township is dealing with or is facing? The township is going through a great deal of growth in TLTI at the present time. And I believe that you can all agree with that. And brings their own share of new people versus older people in the neighborhoods that have different agendas and set agendas and of what they want their community to be or continue to be. We need to be working with residents of the community. As I talked with residents of an individual basis or at community centers like the Rockport Recreation Hall, where I served as 8 years of being co-treasurer and their media expert, or whoever I meet in the community, a majority of constituents keep mentioning to me is higher taxes popping up and decisions that are made at municipal level that they thought were off the chopping block, but resurface and they don't know what the point of the consultation was if they think that the municipality is doing stuff that's not aligned with what they want in their own community. Again, I think it's the messaging that is the problem. So no one is lost in the final outcome. I live in Rockport area. One of the biggest things that we have a problem with is the roads and the change in the roads, which I'm sure you've all heard about. But also there are parts that they didn't want as a community, and they were not consulted about. I think it's not about they weren't consulted about enough. I think there was not enough communication within the district. This was echoed by me talking to Councillor Mabey. We had a great discussion about this. And I think there's something that we all have skills to communicate with members in the community when things are happening. And I think those skills is what some other councils are brought up too. I specifically want to mention that this was brought up in the surveys that Councillor Anton Artley said in the last meeting. You brought up the idea that the residents needing more communication, and Councillor Foley, you also said that they can ask to come to committee. So we are open as a committee to come and see us if they have a problem addressing the needs of the constituents. So we just need to get better at communicating with, and not just concentrate on the digital media as the only medium, because of the older residents in the area who just don't want to deal with social media. They need an actual paper copy. Put it in their mailbox, addressed to them. And again, I've been listening to other people, so I know a great deal of what they want. So if there's an instance where there's something happening in their neighborhood, they should get a letter in the mail that's directed towards them. Don't assume that they're going to see it on the website. Don't assume that they're going to get it through emails. Again, we're making a lot of assumptions that social media is the be and all. I deal with social media, so I know sometimes the algorithm doesn't get to them. And so sometimes we need to send out communication to them, especially if it's on their street or within their area. Obviously, you heard the presentation from KOS. That's the statement where some residents said they did not get communication from KOS directly. And so maybe there's ways of improving. I think you all work really good at as a team here. Again, the managing the budget, higher taxes increasing every year. I think that's another issue. And I'm glad that the mayor said that it's not just the mayor's budget on the last thing, but she says the council's budget. Helping business is also become an important issue, not to lessen the other issues in the area. A council can pivot the needs by staying on the strategic plan, but it's optimal for the economy and give a better work living life balance in TLTI. You have a great council here, and I'm hoping that I can be just a helpful hand to communicate whatever you need, and I'm here to serve. Thank you.
Made it within the time frame. Thank you for that. Perfect. Okay, so I guess we'll go to the next candidate, or, okay, sorry, if there's any questions from council, if anybody has any questions for the candidate, you are able to ask them at this point in time. Okay, we have no questions for you at this point. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And the next candidate we have on the list is John Paul Jackson.
Good evening, everyone. If nobody in the back can hear me, please let the chair know so that I can just speak louder. I'd like to begin my remarks tonight this evening with a quote from Meghan Markle, the Duchess of York. I'm sorry, the Duchess of Sussex, who said, "When we vote, our values are put into action and our voices are heard. Your voice is a reminder that you matter because you do, and you deserve to be heard." Which brings me to why I'm here tonight. While I may not be a strong supporter of the ward system, I am, without question, a firm believer in democracy and in every citizen's right to vote, and by extension, to be heard by their elected representatives. That means that even if the candidate we supported was not elected, our voices still matter. They were heard when we cast our ballots, and they must continue to be heard today. Yet, for the third time in less than 2 years, many of us here in this room and watching online recently watched as you declared Councillor Brock Worrell's seat vacant, opting to fill the vacancy by way of the interview process we're going through tonight. Again. In so doing, whether knowingly or not, you chose the easy route, one that failed to give voice to the people. And to be clear, only one of you could have but did not move to temporarily suspend our procedural bylaw, as you did tonight, by the way. That would have allowed residents to speak on that specific agenda item. That single motion could have changed the course of the vote. Most candidates in our last municipal election did exactly what democracy expects of them. They campaigned. They didn't take the easy way into these chambers. They knocked on doors, gave speeches, debated ideas, spent their own time and money, and engaged directly with residents in hopes of earning a seat at the council table. And that included Mr. Jason Page. Their efforts were open and transparent, even if unfortunately not everyone has maintained that same transparency since being elected. During that same election, the residents of Ward 3 made themselves clear. Their second choice for council was Mr. Page. By disregarding that democratic outcome and overlooking the efforts of those who stepped forward, council risks not only dismissing the candidates who ran, but also silencing the voices of Ward 3 residents who participated in good faith. President Barack Obama once said, "You wouldn't let your grandparents pick your playlist. Why would you let them pick your representative who's going to determine your future?" And I'm not suggesting that anyone here is out of touch, but his point was simple. Voting matters. Every vote is an act of voice, of agency, of hope for the future. And as he reminded us, one voice can change a room. And if one voice can change a room, then it can change a city. So when asked what motivated me to apply to serve on council, my answer is simple. I hoped, as I have tried to demonstrate to you unsuccessfully twice before, that my voice might help bring about change. And now, with my decision to withdraw my candidacy in favor of Jason Page, the candidate Ward 3 residents themselves identified as their next choice, I hope that choice, their choice, is honored. Finally, I appeal to others who have put their names forward. Do the honorable thing. Let democracy prevail. Withdraw your names. Allow the votes cast in the last election to mean something. Allow the voices of those who participated to be heard. And if you do, you will have left your mark, a positive mark. And when the next election comes, you'll be campaigning and standing proudly before your fellow citizens, knowing you put democracy first. Thank you for your time and for allowing me the opportunity to speak before you this evening.
Thank you for the presentation. Any comments or questions from council members? I have no hands up at this time. Thank you. So the next next candidate is Krista Leclerc.
Okay. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council, staff, members of the community, and other candidates. I'm here today to express my interest in serving the residents across the township and representing the constituents of Ward 3. But first, I'd like to express my thanks to former Councillor Brock Worrell for his many years of service to our community. I'm a resident of Ward 3, along with my husband and 11-year-old twin daughters. As mentioned in my brief found in your council package, we love our community. We enjoy our village, we take every opportunity all year long to enjoy the St. Lawrence River, and we love participating in local community events. We have lived in this community for almost 20 years and absolutely love all that the area has to offer. For almost 10 years, I managed the Southeast region at Easter Seals, Ontario, fundraising for kids with physical disabilities. Through this experience, I fostered relationships across the township, focused on serving with integrity and maintained prudent fiscal management. Over the last 15 years, I've had the privilege of teaching as an adjunct professor at St. Lawrence College, helping prepare the next generation of leadership for the workplace. I have taught in the School of Skilled Trades and Tourism, as well as the School of Business, and across a variety of programs. This experience has helped me to foster skills in leadership, curriculum planning, empathy, conflict resolution, communication, among many other soft skills. For the last 6 years, I've been working as the executive director for Kingston Accommodation Partners, a sector association that focuses on advocacy, community building, partnerships, and strategic planning. This experience has also provided me with the opportunities to develop skills in financial management, governance, risk management, human resources, project management, media relations, leadership, research, public relations. I have always been one to enjoy volunteering, whether it's coaching ringette with the Rotary Club of Kingston or serving on boards. I've always found a passion for volunteering my time and engaging with community. I have plenty of governance experience serving on several local, regional, provincial, and federal boards over the last decade, including but not limited to TIAC, which many of you know, Meetings Mean Business Canada, TIO, the Ontario Restaurant Hotel Motel Association, RTO 9, which spans the Southeastern Ontario region, and the Greater Kingston Chamber of Commerce. These experiences helped me to be a voice for industry and business, sustainable community growth, and proper governance and fiscal oversight. In addition, I have experience in advocacy at all levels of government. I've done numerous delegations at Kingston City Council and work with city staff on a daily basis. I attend Roma, AMO, and Queen's Park Days annually as a delegate, meeting with MPPs, ministers, and senior level government officials. I also attend several Hill Days a year and meeting with MPs, ministers, senators, and senior level staff. I feel this experience will be beneficial around the council table as we support our township and the people that reside here. I understand the challenges we face and our limitations with municipal politics, and I hope my experience can provide support as we work with our provincial and federal counterparts. I have a master's degree of business administration with a focus on community economic development and strategic leadership. I'm also completing my certified destination management executive credentials. This program includes courses in advocacy, community relations, marketing, sales, information research, strategic issues, management, leadership, financial management. I truly value evidence-based decision-making and hope to bring these skills and experiences to the table. Through my work with the Rotary Club of Kingston, I received the Rotarian of the Year Award in 2017, as well as being honored with a Paul Harris Fellow Award in 2022. In 2023, I was awarded the Kingston Young Professionals 40 Under 40 Award. Each of these awards was such an honor, and I'm humbled by the people around me that continue to support this work and give back to our communities. I hope it's evident that I'm passionate about community, dedicated to hearing from and consulting constituents, and would be honored to serve on council. My focus would be to protect our communities, listening and engaging to the people, sharing my experience and knowledge, and learning from those around me. Thank you very much. And then to answer question 1, because of my day job, I've been very engaged with municipal politics and have become very interested. When I completed my MBA a few years back, I was inspired, and in addition to studying community economic development and strategic leadership, I focused my studies on municipal politics and diversifying municipal councils and leveraging residents' different experiences and intersectional knowledge to benefit local leadership. I had already been considering running for election in fall of 2026 when this opportunity presented itself. Question number 2, I've always been passionate about volunteering, whether that be coaching sports teams or serving as a Rotarian. I'm the kind of person who loves to learn and grow and serve. I also love making connections and leveraging partnerships. And the thing I think that interests me most about this opportunity is helping to bridge the gap between constituents who are not engaged with municipal politics and those making the decisions and doing the work on their behalf. I'm excited about the possibility of creating more opportunities for local engagement and participation. And for question 3, in the short time we've had to prepare for this role, I've had the pleasure of meeting with several folks around the community to canvass and learn what is important to them. I've reviewed your strategic plan as well as Rockport's strategic plan, and I look forward to reviewing those from the neighboring communities. Residents seem primarily concerned with land use planning and development, the conditions and maintenance of local roads and infrastructure, physician recruitment, waste management. In addition, folks seem passionate about preserving a quality of life they've come to expect in rural Ontario. Financial stewardship came up, accountability, transparency, cost of living, and people are largely concerned about housing affordability for young people in particular. Also, I heard concerns about environmental protection, flooding and weather patterns, property maintenance, and heritage conservation. It was also very clear and not surprising that there's a disconnect between some residents and municipal government, and a clear lack of understanding of the responsibilities of different levels of government, which is something I'm passionate about addressing. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your presentation. Questions from council members? I have no hands up. Thank you very much. Next candidate on the list is Jason Page.
Mayor, councilors, employees of the township, constituents, fellow applicants, thank you very much for the opportunity to present my qualifications for the Ward 3 position. My name is Jason Page. I'm a retired captain of the Canadian Armed Forces, and I retired in February 2015, spent 19 and a half years with the military. Since retiring, I have continued to serve my community through volunteer work with several local organizations and by supporting humanitarian aid efforts abroad. My professional background includes experience with disaster management, human resources, budget management, training and development, public affairs, telecommunication, small business development. However, the most meaningful and rewarding role I've had in the last 9 years is being a single father, stay-home dad with my daughter. I feel very fortunate that we've settled in this area, and I'm very thankful for the wonderful people in our community. What prompted me to apply to serve the Township Council as a councillor? I was motivated to apply for council because I am deeply committed to public service and want to contribute directly to the well-being of my community that I call home. Although my military career, humanitarian work abroad, and volunteer leadership locally have been guided by the belief that strong communications are built through service, collaboration, transparency, and responsible stewardship. The Township of Leeds and Thousand Islands has tremendous social, economic, and environmental potential. I want to help to ensure the growth is balanced, sustainable, and aligns with the residents' desire to maintain our rural, small community type character. Residents deserve meaningful input into the township's direction, to be heard when concerns arise, and to know they have someone on council who will work towards these situations and changes. While Township of Leeds and Thousand Islands is a wonderful place to raise a family, we must expand opportunities for children to develop youth activities, reinstate business-focused advisory committees, and reflect the local needs of business, and ensure that volunteer organizations receive proper support. Strengthening these areas will foster economic stability, community reliance, and long-term prosperity. Serving as a counselor is a natural extension of these values that I have, and my career in leadership, ethical decision-making, and committing to putting the community first are an asset. 2, what experiences from my personal and professional life bring something to the council? My 19-year career in the Canadian Armed Forces shaped my approach to leadership, fiscal responsibility, and public accountability. As a battery commander, adjutant, operations and training officer, I oversaw personnel management, logistics planning, and corporate operations. While managing a $6 million operational budget, these experiences strengthened my ability to make informed decisions, analyze complex issues, and ensure resources are used effectively and efficiently to benefit those I serve. In addition to command experience, I served as an Army ethics officer and coordinator for both 31 Service Battalion and 56 Field Regiment, training that translate directly to the transparency and ethical governance. My background in public affairs and expenditure management further supports reasonable communication and responsible communication and financial oversight. My volunteer work has also shaped my approach to community service. I completed 3 humanitarian deployments to the Ukraine since the beginning of the war with Russia. each supported by generosity of our local residents, in particular from those within the Rockport area. 25 members of our community came together on Boxing Day on 2023 to load a shipping container the following day after Christmas, taking time away from their families to bring clothes, medical supplies, survival equipment, and food to Montreal, which was then shipped directly to Ukraine. And I'm grateful for the community for those kinds of efforts. I'm also the director of membership for Rotary in Gananoque, and I'm also the chair for the Thousand Islands Family Rib Fest, and was last year, and I am again this year. An event that raises funds for both Leeds and Thousand Islands, as well as the town of Gananoque. I have strengthened my skills in collaboration, fundraising, cultural awareness, and community engagement through these experiences. Together, these personal and professional experiences equip me to bring ethical, disciplined, and community-focused leadership to council. What are the issues that we're facing in this township? The Township of Leeds and Thousand Islands faces several pressing and interconnected issues. 1, transparency and communication. Council must improve transparency and expand opportunities for residents to participate in decision-making. I plan to host regular town halls to ensure ongoing communications and public input, as well as take those opportunities to try and raise money for public events. 2, sustainable growth, infrastructure, and urbanization planning. Development of housing, businesses, and tourism must support long-term sustainability while preserving the rural agriculture and cottage community type feel to our values. While provincial planning statement funding, PPS, supports growth and increased housing supply, it should not come at the expense or the identity of our distinct communities. Growth can be achieved by focusing development in already built-up areas, ensuring proper infrastructure, and it makes the community, keeping the community unique. This is of paramount concern for the constituents in Ward 3. 3, housing and availability and affordability. Attracting families, workers, and employees and employers requires diverse and attainable housing. We must prioritize completing stalled or partially built projects before approving new ones. Abandoned or unfinished developments depress property value, create safety risks, and negatively impact neighborhood appearance. This is an overall township concern. The cost of these housing projects and developments should not be passed on to current residents by hiking up utility costs or increasing taxes. They should be put to the developers. This relates to the infrastructure improvements required to achieve those goals. 4, economic development and local business support. We need to strengthen support for our existing businesses, encourage new investment, and balance tourism with the needs for year-round residents. Reviving a business advisory committee that also has a member of council on it and allows more input from local businesses will go a very far way in improving our economic development. 5, community well-being and engagement. Increasing access to community programming, recreation services while improving communication between residents and council will build trust, foster inclusion, and strengthen civic engagement. 6, and my last point, waste management. Our landfills are, well, almost beyond capacity at this point. We need a comprehensive, forward-thinking waste management strategy that protects the environment, provides long-term community support solutions rather than just short-term fixes. Addressing these issues with thoughtful planning, transparent governance, and community collaboration will help the township preserve what makes it a special place and a place that I would be proud to stay in. Thank you very much.
For your presentation. Questions from members of council? I have no hands up. Thank you very much. Okay, so I am going to put the motion on the floor and then we'll do the voting at that point in time. So it is a recorded vote, but you'll still be able to make your deliberation and then the clerk will read out. So the motion comes forward from Deputy Mayor Fody, seconded by Councillor Maybe, that the individuals who have signified in writing that they are legally qualified to hold office and consented to accept the office if they are appointed to fill the council vacancy be considered for appointment to fill such vacancy. That the following candidate interview and the voting process, council appoints blank to the vacant seat on council for the remainder of this term, and that bylaw 2025-054 be given first and second reading. So the clerk will now pass out the ballots. So just another reminder, the four candidates are Thomas Hopkins, John Paul Jackson, Krista Leclerc, and Jason Page. Or John Paul, you've withdrawn your name. So we're then, based on that, there's only three candidates to choose from: Thomas Hopkins, Krista Leclerc, and Jason Page. I don't have any music to play. I'm sorry. If anybody wanted to sing, they're welcome to. Won't be me.
Okay, so in alphabetical order, the recorded vote is Councillor Antoine Hartley is Krista Leclerc. Deputy Mayor Fody, Krista Leclerc. Councillor Kalman, Krista Leclerc. Councillor Lackey, Krista Leclerc. Councillor Maybe, Krista Leclerc. And Mayor Smith-Gacky, Krista Leclerc.
So the motion reads that the individuals who signified in writing that they're legally qualified to hold office and consent to accept the office if they are appointed to fill the council vacancy be considered for appointment to fill such vacancy. That the following candidate interview and voting process, council appoints Krista Leclerc to the vacant seat on council for the remainder of this term, and that bylaw 2025-054 be given first and second reading. All those in favor of the motion at hand? All those opposed? And it is carried. Congratulations, Krista. Thank you. So you are going to administer the oath of office at this point? Okay, so Krista, without delay, we're going to put you right to work.
Welcome. So if you just want to go ahead and read that and then.
Sure. Thank you very much. I, Krista Leclerc, having been elected or appointed to the office of councillor in the Township of Leeds and the Thousand Islands, do solemnly promise to declare that 1, I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. 2, I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or in any other improper manner. 3, I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. 4, I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty, King Charles III. And I make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously, believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So with that, we're going to take a brief break because we've been at this since 6 o'clock. So we're going to take a comfort break for 10 minutes, and then we'll thank you for the Kingston Online folks for being so patient this evening. We'll take a 10-minute break until 8 o'clock, and then we'll reconvene. Thank you. It is 8 p.m. and we will reconvene this council meeting on November the 10th. So we are on item number 10, consent agenda. Oh, sorry, we've got a treasurer who's gonna handle that. And IT, oh, that's right, you manage IT. There we go. Thank you. Okay, so we will move on with the consent agenda, number 10. Motion made by, did I skip something again? Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm getting messed up. Moved by Councillor Antoine Hartley, seconded by Councillor Maybe, that the September 8th, October 14th, 2025 council meeting minutes and the October 6th and November 3rd, 2025 committee of the whole meeting minutes be adopted as circulated, and that the September 23, 2025 committee of adjustment meeting minutes be received and filed. Any errors or omissions in any of those? Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you, on the October 14th council heading, it says October 15th, but it is actually the 14th meeting.
Okay, we can fix that. We have the technology. Any other errors or omissions in the minutes? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? It's carried. Okay, staff reports. There are none. Number 13, 13.1, communication tower applications. So there's a separate one for each one of the towers, but I'm going to read the first motion in its entirety, and then I won't have to read them, the whereases. So, but I have to read on the first one, correct? Yes. So I'm reading the first full motion, and then every subsequent motion will be exactly the same with an address change in the therefore. Okay, so you'll understand once I read it. So moved by Councillor Maybe, seconded by Councillor Antoine Hartley, whereas a consultation process has occurred regarding proposed communications facility towers at 1902 Outlet Road, 465 Gananoque Lake Road, 284 Marble Rock Road, 183 Briar Hill Road, 130 Quabbin Road, and 87 Fitzsimmons Road for Kingston Online Services, the agent. And whereas telecommunication facilities are regulated by Innovation, Science, and Economic Development Canada, formerly Industry Canada, and under the Radio Communication Act, which requires proponents to consult with local land use authorities and follow local protocol concerning location of such facilities. And whereas the township has a consultation protocol described in the telecommunication tower and related facilities protocol, the protocol, which includes the council providing comments on the proposed tower. Therefore, council directs staff to submit a letter of concurrence to the agent regarding the tower at 1902, did I say 1902? Sorry, my apologies. 2902 Outlet Road, indicating the agent has complied with the protocol. And that further, the letter shall also indicate that in the event that the tower is no longer required, Kingston Online Services shall remove the tower from the property. And I apologize for the error in the Outlet Road address. So it's 2902 Outlet Road. Any discussion on this motion? Go ahead, Councillor Lackey.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you. It's just a comment, if you will, in the fact that, I realize this is another business in the township. There's nothing wrong with healthy competition, but people are moving here and want to live here, do business here, and they need internet. It's well documented through the years that I've sat at this table. I don't like the towers. I would like to say I hate them, but that's pretty strong. But I'm not in favor of towers, but it seems like that's what we need to do to move things forward, at least for now. People, they need to run their businesses. They need to run, they need to do their shopping. They need to do all this stuff. So I'll be voting in favor of this. And those are basically the reasons why.
Thank you. Any other comments? Go ahead, Councillor Maybe.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you, my thoughts are very similar to Councillor Lackey's, is that, we have a lot of towers have gone up and are proposed to go up even in our future. And it does become a little bit ominous when you see how many towers. I know I've talked about this before. As I leave 15 Highway on 401, I can count 6 within the borough of Kingston. So I see this as, our landscape is very pretty with all the trees and the islands and everything that we have. But having said that, Same thing. Connectability is a big issue. We've tried getting fiber optic here many, many times and gone down that road a few times, trying to get our boroughs all connected. So if this is the only thing we can do right now, then it's probably okay. The only caveat to that is that the actual location at which was brought up in the two cases, and whether there's another suggestion that can maybe get them away from the residents a little bit. If there isn't, there isn't, but it was brought up, and I would like to see if there was some sort of option to that exact location. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Fody.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you, with this tower, there was a few comments made by those that did speak that they'd like to see the previous tower that was built just a couple of years ago, just north of, utilized. It doesn't change the radiation. Whether you put this application on that tower or put it on a separate tower, the radiation to the houses, if that's a concern, is the very same. It may, I'm sure if it was measured, it could be some variances, but I'm not buying the fact that you know, by wanting to force somebody to use an existing tower is going to change anything on radiation. So, you know, we've had this discussion before. That is exactly the process we used to approve the previous tower the Rogers put up. The fire chief was a big reason why we approved that. And connection in that area is bad at best, but it is improving. So I will approve this as well.
Any further comments in regards to the motion on the floor? Seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. Okay, so I'm not going to read all the whereases again. I'm just reading the therefore. Moved by Deputy Mayor Fody, seconded by Councillor Maybe. Therefore, council directs staff to submit a letter of concurrence to the agent regarding the tower at 465 Gananoque Lake Road, indicating that the agent has complied with the protocol, and further that a letter shall also indicate that in the event the tower is no longer required, Kingston Online Services shall remove the tower from the property. Discussion for 465 Gan Lake Road. Sorry, Gananoque Lake Road. Force a habit. There are no comments. So I will call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. Next one is Deputy Mayor Fody moves and seconded by Councillor Antoine Hartley. Therefore, council directs staff to submit a letter of concurrence to the agent regarding the tower at 284 Marble Rock Road, indicating that the agent has complied with the protocol. And further, the letter shall also indicate that in the event the tower is no longer required, Kingston Online Services shall remove the tower from the property. Discussion on this motion. So this is 284 Marble Rock Road. 284. Oh, gonna have to start docking somebody's pay here. I'm kidding. I'm very much kidding. So I'm not sure. We're gonna need to find out where that is, where you're. So she's looking at it in eScribe. So why you're seeing it? That's so wild. Anyways, we can fix that. Under exhibits? Okay. Okay, we will make sure that that gets amended. Okay, so 284 Marble Rock Road. Any further comments? I see none. I'll call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. Councillor Maybe moves and seconded by Deputy Mayor Fody. Therefore, council directs staff to submit a letter of concurrence to the agent regarding the tower at 183 Briar Hill Road, indicating that the agent has complied with the protocol, and that further the letter shall also indicate that in the event the tower is no longer required, Kingston Online Services shall remove the tower from the property. Discussion on this motion, 183 Briar Hill. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you. Just a comment. When I first saw this, I thought there was an error in the road name, because it looks like it's on Old Briar Hill Road because it's actually closer, but the property actually stretches right across between the two. So if anyone was confused, the civic address is Briar Hill Road, even though the tower is closer to Old Briar Hill Road.
Very important distinction. Any further comments? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. Next is moved by Councillor Lackey, seconded by Councillor Kelman. Therefore, council directs staff to submit a letter of concurrence to the agent regarding the tower at 130 Quabbin Road, indicating that the agent has complied with the protocol. And further, the letter shall also indicate that in the event of the tower is no longer required, Kingston Online Services shall remove the tower from the property. Any discussion on this? 130 Quabbin Road, not to be confused with 130 Quabbin Hill Road. This is Old Briar Hill. So this is 130 Quabbin Road. I had to look up the actual Google Street visuals so I could make sure. Correct. So no questions or comments on 130 Quabbin Road. Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And we're carried. Moved by Councillor Lackey, seconded by Councillor Kelman. Therefore, council directs staff to submit a letter of concurrence to the agent regarding the tower at 87 Fitzsimmons Road, indicating that the agent has complied with the protocol, and further that the letter shall also indicate that in the event the tower is no longer required, Kingston Online Services shall remove the tower from the property. Discussion on this motion. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you again, this is one of the questions that was posed to us by residents, and the radiation and stuff, that type of thing, and whether there is a better location that moves it a little bit more away from the property. So if that's possible, it'd be nice.
The folks from Kingston Online Service, can you speak to the location of the specificity of that? I know that you've already presented, but just to provide further comfort for the, if you have to come forward, and you're going to have to sit down because we changed it. And now you have to turn it back on. There we go.
Okay, you guys can hear me? Okay, with this location, a key focus of this tower is to service the islands, which we know are underserviced quite badly. To do that, we need to have good elevation, but also we don't want to be right on the parkway where you're quite visible from the water and from most of the traffic coming through. The problem is our tower that we are feeding from is on Howe Island. So we have kind of a limited window because of the landscape on where we can actually put the tower to get between the hills so that we can feed redundancy, because our connection or our proposal has multiple feeds into the network. So if any one were to fail, it wouldn't cause an outage for everyone else. So if this one leg goes down, the other comes up, but we have to be able to get through the hills there. And we have a very limited selection. Also, there's a large ANSI land portion near there, as well as wetlands. So we're pretty limited to properties that are available. And this one, once it's in place, it's from that neighborhood. It's going to be pretty difficult without purposely trying to see the tower to actually see the tower. When you drive down the road, it's going to be set back in the trees, and the trees are so tall, you're not going to be able to look up and see the top of the tower.
Follow up.
Just as a follow-up, so your connectability is line sight. You know, you have to see the tower.
To be clear, the tower, sort of the backhaul that provides the link, does need line of sight. The actual connection from us to your home, or a home or business, does not need line of sight.
Okay. And then the follow-up with that, with the line of sight, weather conditions that can happen in our area, like the heavy snow or rain, will that affect the service?
No,
a lot.
Sorry, that we build in a certain amount of margin that compensates for weather.
Okay.
So that, like, rain and snow and all that are not going to, bring down the internet for you.
So the stability of the service is built in so that most weather conditions will not affect the signal that you're providing.
Absolutely, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
No problem.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Councillor Kelman.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you. With this particular tower, I did have concerns that a couple of the adjacent landowners asserted that they did not receive notification, and I appreciate those concerns. So I hope that there wasn't an error made.
I'll have the manager from Kingston Online Services come forward.
So when we were sending these letters, such a critical part of the process to see the addresses. When we handed them out, we actually put all the letters to based on the list of generated. We actually took a picture of
Yeah. Is the microphone on? I just want to make sure.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
You just need to be closer.
So we very carefully, and we had multi-steps of people confirming that one, all the letters were generated, they were all generated correctly from the list that we had. But two, when we actually delivered the letters, we actually took pictures of us delivering the letters. So there'd be a notice like the mailbox or something with the letter addressed to the person if it wasn't at the door or anything. So when we went out and did it, because we were quite just very careful, to be very honest, for exactly this reason here. I think the one gentleman who spoke, I'm not sure if he was on the list. I think he had said he was outside the area.
I think that's the distinction that we're learning here tonight. Is
Yeah.
that you have to be within 215 meters.
250 or 3 times the height of the tower.
Yeah.
3 times the height of the tower. So every tower is slightly different in height. Is that correct? They're not all uniform, are they?
There are 3 different heights that we've talked about tonight.
Yes.
So that does change, but of those, when we delivered them, and I know it sounds a little not overkill, it's just such a critical part of the process. We took pictures of those letters being delivered. We didn't circumvent process. We didn't not do something because it was a long laneway. You know, we knocked on doors. We did everything we could do, but there's the photographic evidence as well of all of these address having them delivered.
So if they did not get them, it could be conceivably the reason is that they're outside of the area.
That would most likely be it. If someone hasn't received it, I can't speak any further other than we dropped them off, and I know that those letters were dropped off. And like I said, we have pictures of the letters and the photographic evidence just as we this was put in that mailbox. Yeah.
Okay. Any further comments or questions? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Foti.
Thank you, Your Worship, but through you. My issue with this tower was presented with a few people here tonight, but we're looking at a totally different elevation of tower as opposed to if you want to compare to the Rogers at the outlet. So I am going to vote against this tower because when we're bringing that radiation down to a more human level, if you want to refer to it in that phrase, I don't want to be the person that assumes all is well. We could flash back to the Aaron Brockovich story if you want to go that far back in history, and there no doubt is things to be learned from radiation, but I'm going to vote against it just because of the height. If had it been a taller tower, it would be a different answer for me. Thanks.
Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? 2, 3, 4. All those opposed? Got 2. So the mayor, it carries. Okay, next item. Oh, that's all your towers. You're free to go, gentlemen. The next item on the agenda is 13.2, which is council direction municipal drains, moved by Councillor Kelman, seconded by Councillor Lackey, that council directs staff to obtain a legal opinion regarding the appeal submitted regarding the Boulevard, Webster, and Creek Road municipal drains. Discussion on the motion. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Seeing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And there are none, so it is carried. Next item is comprehensive report law amendment application D14 2024-013, moved by Councillor Lackey, seconded by Councillor Kelman, that council approves zoning bylaw amendment D14 2024-013 to rezone a portion of the water adjacent to the property municipally known as 417B, Thousand Islands Parkway, currently zoned environmental protection EP zone to environmental protection special exception 3 EP3 zone in the township zoning bylaw number 07-079, and that council further amends bylaw number 07-079 zoning bylaw of the Corporation of the Township of Leeds in the Thousand Islands as amended as per Exhibit F, recommended amending bylaw Schedule A to report number 2025-081, and that council grants first and second reading to the amending bylaw. So this is for 17B Thousand Islands Parkway. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. So this is a new item that, because when I first started reading this, I was thinking that the Glen House had a something that we were talking about probably half a year ago at this point. Yeah,
That's it.
this is it?
Yep.
Because I thought it was the other side of the property. I don't know.
It's, the problem is, well, it would have, if it's on two different sides of the road, it'd have two different
Well-
numbers. I'll let the planner
Yeah,
speak
go
to it,
ahead.
and then I'll go to Counselor Lackey.
Thank you, through you. So this is the application that came before council a number of months ago for a public meeting. We just had a public meeting because there was still details to be sorted out with respect to the environmental impact assessment review and those types of things. All those matters have been resolved. It was with respect to the wetland boundary that needed to be resolved. That's all been resolved. The staff report coming before you tonight is the comprehensive report. There were a few public comments with respect to the request to expand the number of docks at the location, with respect to the behavior of the individuals that may be down. So concerns around increasing the number of boats that can be docked, and behavior of the individuals staying on those boats. As the report indicates, that's a bylaw enforcement issue or a police enforcement issue, depending on the nature of the behavior that's occurring. Staff did not receive any calls or concerns regarding any activities at this location over the summer, and so the report before council this evening is to recommend approval.
Okay. Deputy Mayor, Counselor Lackey, then Deputy Mayor Fody.
Thank you, Your Worship. And through to you, just for clarification, this is not technically the Glen House. This is Point Comfort, which is directly across from the golf course, the driveway that leads to the other Mr. Seal's house. So it's a separate off on its own.
It's
for
the
those-
driveway just to the
For those
east.
who don't know the area, and it's a perfect spot for what he's doing, so.
Mhm. It's, okay, Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you. With the docks again, Mr. Seal was here seemingly some time ago and said no dredging would be required. Is that still the case?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. 13.4 Ivy Lee Road Operational Review, moved by Counselor Kelman, seconded by Counselor Lackey, that council authorize staff to sole source Hopkins Chitty Land Surveying to conduct a legal survey and reinstatement of property bars for Ivy Lee Road to establish the municipal right-of-way, and that the upset limit cost of $25,000 be funded from the 2025 operating budget. So this is existing funds that are in the budget for 2025, but this project was not on the 2025 work plan for them. So that is why it is coming forward to council for discussion. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you. This is specific to just where the culvert is being installed. Is that correct?
Through your worship. The initial request from the consulting engineers was for legal surveying for the culvert. But given that we're going to have legal surveyors in that, they can be quite busy and hard to get on site. So we want to take advantage of their availability and do the whole road, because ultimately that's what we're going to be looking at is looking at the what we have for right of way on Ivy Lee Road. So they give us a price for the entire road of $16,200, but in their proposal was to put stakes in place, which we've seen people like to remove. Where a survey bar, it's actually against the law to remove them. So we'll be able to know where our right of way is, forever.
All right. Thank you. That's comforting, knowing that price encompasses the whole road. Thank you.
Any further comments or questions? Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you, what is the length of the road?
Ooh. Long and.
I know it's narrow.
Through your worship, I will have to get you that information.
Okay, I look forward to that. Thank you.
Discussion, any further? It's okay. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it's carried. Okay, next item. Oh, it's 1,500 meters. There we go. The planner whip, got that out of GIS. Yep. Okay, 13.5 RFT-OPS-2025-026, 31,300 pound truck with plow and sander equipment. Moved by Counselor Kelman, seconded by Counselor Lackey, that council approve the award of tender OPS 2025-026 for the acquisition of one 31,300 pound truck with a plow and sander equipment to Petrie Ford Sales Kingston Limited in the amount of $231,820.47, inclusive of the net HST. Yeah, sorry, it was a big number. I had to breathe a little there. So Deputy Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you. Is this truck available now?
Through your worship, the chassis of this truck is available now, but the equipment will have to be constructed and installed on it. We don't expect to see this until towards the end of the winter season at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. So the different price levels that we have, and again, two of the awardees have alternate. Can you describe that for me, please?
Through your worship, so there are two different brands provided for the equipment. The Petrie Ford provided for a 750 truck, and then Rush provided for a CV, whatever their model is, the CV model. But the difference is what they put on it, the plow and wing and the sander on that. Viking Civets typically builds larger equipment, and they're starting to build smaller equipment as well for this type of application. But they're just not able to compete with the bodybuilder that has submitted its twin equipment. And the costing is just it's more beneficial to go with the twin equipment at this point.
Any further comment? I have a question. If we were to have bought this 10 years ago, what would it have cost? Just in a ballpark. No, I asked this question purposely because a number of the candidates who spoke here tonight talked about rising taxes. And I'm trying to draw a parallel to the rising costs of doing the business. I know that it's not necessarily lost on those around this table, but we go through this tender process and this is what we get. And like, it's hard for me to read that number, knowing that, you used to be able to pick up a truck for reasonable costs, but between fire and public works, we have a lot of iron here. So go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship, through you. I might be able to indirectly answer that. A commercial highway truck, a large one, has jumped over $100,000 in that 10-year period.
Over 100,000.
Over 100. Some of them are higher than that. I won't put the blame on the manufacturer. We had some quotes given to us just a few months ago, and the higher truck came in at 310 or 12,000. The lower one was 254.
Okay, just making the point. I'm gonna go to the director and then Antoine Hartley and then Lackey. Go ahead.
So just to answer your question, when I first started buying equipment, and I think the fire chief can say the same thing to this. When I first started buying equipment, one of the first pieces of equipment that I bought was a motor grader. And we bought the biggest motor grader that we could find for $200,000. That same motor grader now is $700,000. I bought my first tandem with a municipality, and it was $200,000. And as we know from the ones that we purchased in the last couple of years, we're over $500,000 for that same piece of equipment. Half-ton trucks were $30,000, and now they're $68,000. The costs are climbing rapidly. I don't think that tariffs and all those types of things will help much with that situation, but we have a good treasurer here that keeps us in line, and we're constantly updating our costs and making sure that we have good information in there so that we can do the long-term planning and make sure that the dollars make sense.
Thank you for the explanation. So Councillor Antoine Hartley and then Councillor Lackey.
Through you, Madam Mayor. There's insurance money though that takes this down, right? Is not this one?
Yes, that is correct. This is the result of a vehicle fire that we had in May of 2025, where the insurance adjuster is giving us a credit of $161,866.90 for the replacement of that vehicle. But we're not looking at replacing like for like because of the operational need that was identified. So we're picking or we've selected the piece of equipment that will better suit our needs going forward.
Perfect. Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Lackey. Exact question. Great minds think alike. Okay, I will call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it's carried. Okay, moved by Councillor Lackey, seconded by Councillor Kelman, that based on discussions with the Director of Operations, snow removal for the 2025-2026 season will not be impacted if parking is permitted in the requested location in front of the property of 184 Ivy Lee Road. Further, that the 2026 Operations Department will be completing a review of Ivy Lee Road to consider the design and safety of the roadway, including an examination of the width of the road allowance. Therefore, now be it resolved to allow the owner of the property of 184 Ivy Lee Road an opportunity to determine how to accommodate parking on their private property due to topographic changes or challenges, I should say, and the need for rock removal that on-street parking will be permitted until March 30th, 2026. Discussion on this motion. I think the motion's fairly self-explanatory. I know which one it is, so it's a nice rock wall, and in order for him to accommodate further, he will need to remove said more rock. Correct?
Yeah, just the topography. He's a newer owner. It's just that the existing driveway, through you, I'm sorry. The existing driveway, you'd have to see it to believe it. Basically, I went to visit the man in my golf cart and I just about tipped it over because it's the incline is that steep. The pictures that we have don't do it any justice. But anyway, I think this is a good compromise for one winter, just to let the man see what we're dealing with and try and accommodate his own issues. But this will give him time to arrange finances and ideas moving forward.
Realistically, we don't actually have the pins to see where our roadway is at this point. So I think there's a number.
Yeah, he's just looking for a winter's worth of
Yeah.
good faith.
Any further comment? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. Next item, moved by Councillor Kelman, seconded by Councillor Lackey, that staff be directed to amend the no parking signs on Front Street in Rockport in the area of Church of Redeemer to permit parking on Sundays between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. and that staff shall consider amendments to the township parking bylaw to include exemptions for church functions and events. Discussion on this motion. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you. While the staff is looking at, assuming this gets passed, if we're going to direct these signs as requested, can we also look at lengthening them? We could incidentally provide another couple of parking spots there by doing so, if it works in the confines of what the staff have to work with. Thank you.
Sorry, through you, just for clarification, when you talk about lengthening, are you talking about spacing the signs further apart or, okay.
Okay. Any further comments? Seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. Yes.
If I may.
Yes.
Thank you, Your Worship. And through you, I just had a question for the Director of Planning, if the signs will be amended in time for this Sunday, or if there's a timeline that you would have for that.
Through you, it's unlikely that the signs will be updated by Sunday. However, I will inform the bylaw enforcement officer as well as Frontenac Municipal Law Enforcement that parking is permitted in that location.
Okay. Got it. Next motion is 13.8, moved by Deputy Mayor Fody, seconded by Councillor Lackey, that the clerk prepare correspondence on behalf of council and forward it to VIA regarding concerns about the considerations for eliminating train stop locations inclusive of the Gananoque Station within the township of Leeds and the Thousand Islands. Discussion on the motion? I think it's self-explanatory. Main reason being is that they're reviewing their operations, so it is important that we draw the line. Plus, they also need to address the building that is on the property sooner rather than later. Any further comment? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. Staff reports for information. There are none. I don't have the full package in front of me. Information items, none this week, and announcements or statements from counselors. Go ahead.
One additional one from what I've said in the last couple of meetings is the Run Walk in Gan this Saturday. Starts at 10, registration is 9. It's a new event that they're doing, so I will be starting the race for them.
Any other announcements or statements? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Fody.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you, I'd like to send a thank you to the county for all the work they did on the Lyndhurst Bridge. That historic bridge is a landmark and a treasure in our jurisdiction. And to see that finished before winter set in, it does look great. It appeared that the south wall was finished at the time of Turkey Fair, so they had a good jump start to get the north finished. But it's comforting, I'm sure, much more to the residents of Lyndhurst and those on the Historical Society. But hats off to the county for accomplishing that.
Thank you very much. Any other announcements or statements from counselors? Okay, mayor's update, short and sweet. Tomorrow is Remembrance Day. Obviously, as it always is, a very poignant day of the year where we remember those who have made the ultimate sacrifice and continue to serve this country and around the world in peacekeeping times in regards to our freedoms. When it comes to this day, it's always very moving to be part of a ceremony. Most of us are going to try to be at respective ceremonies tomorrow. And just appreciate anybody who might be listening in. Hopefully you will take the time to pay your respects to those who went before us and those who will continue to defend us now and in the future. Also, Christmas parades are this weekend in Lyndhurst and in Lansdowne. Sorry, I'm trying to remember which one is on Saturday, which one is. Lyndhurst is Saturday, Lansdowne Sunday. I was getting it flipped in my head. And I believe they're both at 2. Yeah, so they're evening parades. So hopefully you can bring out your kids and your friends and your family and enjoy the beginning of the festive season, and see friends and family. The only other thing that I will make a point of, the wall here in Lansdowne may start work, but I'm not sure now. It was approved at County Council, finally. The work was to begin prior to snow flying, but it didn't work out so well. But having said that, just for the public's information, that wall will be redone and realigned. There's more to it than just the wall. That is why it took so long. There was other work that needed to be considered, and I appreciate the county taking time to do the extra due diligence, and our own director of operations who helped make sure that concerns for not just now, but in the future use of that intersection and safety, which is paramount. So just one little note, and I think that's it that I have to share, other than budget's coming up December 11th, and that will begin at 10 a.m. and our treasurer will be ready to go and excited to deliver. Oh, right, it's all me. No, it's all Phil. Let's be honest. So just you mark your calendars if you haven't already. That is a day that begins at 10 and goes until 4:30, I believe, that day. The draft is pretty much locked in. So we're excited to get the binders printed and out to everyone so you can review it. And then should you have any extra specific questions, the directors of the respective departments are happy to answer that prior to council and of course here at the council table. Okay. Closed session, there is none. Bylaws moved by Councillor Kelman, seconded by Councillor Lackey, that third reading and final passage be granted to bylaws 2025-054, 2025-055. Any discussion? Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. And moved by Councillor Kelman, seconded by Councillor Lackey, that three readings and final passage be granted to bylaw 2025-056, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the corporation of the Township of Leeds and the Thousand Islands at its November 10th, 2025 council meeting. Discussion on the motion. Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? And it's carried. Last motion moved by Councillor Kelman, seconded by Councillor Lackey, that council adjourn at 8:41 p.m. Non-debatable. All those in favor? All those opposed? And we're carried. Thank you, everyone.